To learn the good, the bad, and the reality of the nomadic lifestyle, click the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Click the bell notification. Unfortunately, I have some very, very sad news to report. A young girl was burned to death in a Walmart parking lot from what appears to be a nomad who was neglectful in being responsible with his Coleman stove. Before I get into this, I don't want to get into the legal matters of what had happened. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how to litigate this. I am just reporting what I've read from several news articles. In Minnesota, there was a nomadic couple who was sleeping in their van in a Walmart parking lot. They got up the next morning. Although the nomad made two false statements, he finally admitted that he had his Coleman stove out of the van, cooked breakfast, and then put the hot Coleman stove back in his van, threw some blankets into the back, and apparently the blankets caught on fire. Now, this was all confirmed by video footage from the Walmart parking lot. So when he threw the blankets back in the van, he moved his van from a location in the parking lot that was away from vehicles closer to the front of the store and parked it next to another minivan who had two young girls in it, a 6-year-old girl and a 9-year-old girl, both sisters. The Coleman stove caught the blankets on fire. The nomadic woman who was still in the van got out of the van, walked around to the back, opened the hatch up, and was trying to pull some of the materials out of the back of the van, I guess her stuff, at which point the fire accelerated, caught the whole van on fire, and within 3 to 4 minutes, both vans were engulfed, and the 6-year-old girl died from her injuries as a result of being burned at the scene, and the 9-year-old girl is in critical condition at the hospital. The 70-year-old man was inside the store when all this happened, and he has been charged with second-degree manslaughter and 2 counts of negligent fire. Which brings me to the point of the nomadic lifestyle. There's several issues that I think, in my mind, the nomadic couple violated some serious nomadic safety protocols and courtesy protocols. This is where I really struggle with nomads just saying, come on out here and you're going to have a great time, just you're going to love it, and because they don't teach folks how to do this properly. Just get in your van and live. Well, you got to think about this. You're converting your vehicle into a house. And with that, you're going to be violating some safety rules right off the bat. For example, if you have a hot stove in a van next to your bedding material, it's going to increase the odds of things catching on fire. In our camper, we have our stove right next to our bed. And it's just because the space is so small, the options are just not available to separate everything and make sure everything's completely safe. So when you come out here as a nomad and you want to live in your car, van, or truck, these are some potential risks that you're going to put yourself into, and you have to be extra diligent in preventing things like this from happening. So I'm going to go through some of these things. One, let's talk about Walmart. Walmart, I just read on the Walmart website that they allow RVs to stay in their parking lot. Now, what was interesting is in the news article, they pointed out, and I've never caught this before, that the webpage says RVs, but it does not specify other types of vehicles. I thought that was an interesting point because in my mind, this tragic accident is going to make Walmart take notice and figure out some other things to do. So here again, nomads parking in Walmart parking lots is shining a light on the problem with nomads staying in Walmart parking. I just made a video the other day that said, if you're going to stay in a Walmart parking lot, you stay the night and you leave. We see people with their lawn chairs out. They got the stabilizers lowered. They got the trailer jack down, tearing up the concrete. They've disconnected. They drive off. They stay for days. Well, here again, here is another unspoken rule that has been violated by a nomad. He was cooking in a Walmart parking lot. No, you don't cook in a Walmart parking lot. You go over to a city park and you cook in the city park on a approved picnic table where the Coleman stove is designed to sit. Now, let's talk about some other safety concerns. One is, okay, like I said, we cook inside our camper. We recognize the safety risk, and as a result, we are extra diligent when we are cooking. One, we do not leave the stove. We always stay around the stove while it's cooking and after it's done. We have carbon monoxide detectors, which is very important in an enclosed space, that tight of a closed space. Carbon monoxide builds up pretty quickly. We have a smoke alarm, and it's the most annoying thing in the world. When you're in a space that small, every time you cook, that thing goes off. But I'd rather it go off too many times than one time not going off. We have a fire extinguisher inside the camper, right on the wall, right over my head. We have another fire extinguisher inside the truck, in the glove box. We see a fire happening inside the camper while we're driving down the road, or if we were in the cab, we can jump out with the fire extinguisher, come back around, and try to put it out. We never, ever leave the stove when it's hot. We stick around until it's cooled off, and here's what I do. Every time I walk out of the camper, here's the stove. I touch it like that to see if it's warm, and if it's not warm, I can leave the camper. Just this morning, I was making some coffee. Carolyn was still asleep. I'm working on the computer, and Carolyn kicked a cover over towards the stove, and I immediately saw it. Immediately. And I was able to pull the cover back. When we're done with the Coleman stove, we shut the propane tank off because propane can leak. You know, maybe the hose is getting old and starts to break or loose or whatever the case is, or the knobs on the stove knocked around. The other thing I don't think a lot of people realize is you have converted your vehicle into a house. So now you have taken DC electric, which is what a car uses, DC, 12 volts, okay? And you converted it into 110 volts, household electric, 110 volts. And so now your car is doing something that it's not supposed to be doing. When we park in a Walmart parking lot to go shopping, I get in there and I shut the electric off. That means nothing is running. We're usually in the Walmart store for about an hour, so my refrigerator stuff isn't going to thaw out. I'm not going to be in danger of any problems. And so I have no electric, no gas, no propane, no heated items. Everything is back to its original condition, which is it's a car. One of the most obvious mistakes he made was he drove his car up closer to the store so he didn't have as far to walk to go to the store. That is a terrible idea. I always park my camper all the way back at the back of the parking lot, away from vehicles. Remember, the car is doing something it's not designed to do, which is be a house. So park this thing that you have created way down here in case something like this does happen. If his van would have caught on fire when he was parked way far away, no one would have been at risk. Follow these safety rules. Treat Walmart as though it's a parking lot and not your home. Thanks for watching. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.